I want to review two of the setups that we had today in the steam room and the futures room, and just kind of go over what we were looking for before when the trades were setting up. We saw them setting up, how those played out, how I played them, and just go over the basic way that the tool works too, because this is new to a lot of people. This is it right here. This is our proprietary Gex tool. We have our support and resistance levels. So the green is our resistance level, the red is our support level, and then we have the yellow, which is the GWAP, the gamma weighted average price, the flip point, zero gamma, whatever you want to call it. And so we look to trade long above that, short below it, and then we aim to target these walls. And we have some other rules that, we'll do other videos, talk about the other setups and other trades. But today we had PPI in the morning before the open, for the regular session open. And after PPI, we pushed up to 45.40. And we have some indicators that showed us there was strong selling there. And so that was an area that we were watching in the open. And then whenever we opened up, we had, this is the SPY chart, and this level right here is 45.35 roughly. And we use SPY and ES, even though they're, similar instruments, they're the same instrument. They're both based on the SP 500. Our data works differently for them. So we use them for two different purposes. I trade ES. I like watching ES most of the time, especially when it comes to setting up the trades. And I use this one more directional. And so we opened up. Let me get my pen here, make this part easier. So this is the open, the regular trading hours open. This level right here is 45.35, and this is 45.40. This is a level that we're watching. And when PPI came in that move up into PPI, we saw that there was a lot of aggressive order flow in here. So when this wall started coming in here, that's perfect setup. We have our resistance level at 40. We have another indicator that shows us at 40. So that's perfect setup for us. The only problem is we never got to 40, right? So we'll start here. This is where we're at in the room. Basically in the morning, this is 9:22. This is going to be Central Time. This chart is in Eastern. This is in Central. This is in Central up here. So I really like where the wall is on ES SPY. I have sellers selling there from PPI. It's talking about one of the indicators we watch. So I'm hoping they're still there when we get back up there for a possible fade. Not seeing big selling, indicating that we'll see a squeeze. From 40, I would try for 30 for 10 points. So basically what I'm saying is, at this point, whenever I'm saying this, so that's going to be, it's going to be around here, 9:22. This will be 10:22 Eastern. I'm saying I'm not seeing a bunch of sellers yet. So not seeing a squeeze happen yet, but I'm looking to target this area. I want to see it come in here and then fade it, play it back down to at least 30, and then kind of see how everything else looks. Maybe standing trade, but 10 points is a good trade on ES. So now we see just a few minutes later reloading at 35. So as we started to get up here, started to see the reloading come in. Icebergs, there were big sellers there. They had moved down from this 40 level. Actually did kind of indicate that in pre-market as well. But anyway, in regular session, we got there and we saw them still reloading there. We have sellers up here, but lots of buying too. So at that point, I'm still hopeful that I might get up to this 40 level. I see we have some MBOs building at 40, and that's one of the things we watch for with these resistance, support and resistance levels. That's just another thing that stacks onto it. I have big sellers in ETH. You can't see them on here, but they're on another indicator that we have. So I have big sellers up here. We have our proprietary resistance level here too, and then we have MBO showing there too. It's a perfect recipe, right? Still sellers at that 35 level, but buyers keep trying. And so what happened here is basically I saw everything I wanted to see, or I needed to see, to get into a short. So I went ahead and played it. It wasn't really per the setup. It wasn't per this tool, because I had a feeling we just weren't going to get there based on all the selling that I saw. So I went ahead and took a short. And I put it's not easy being green just because it's, getting in, fading these moves at the top, it's tough staying in them. But when you have the data that shows you to stay in them, you stay in them. So after that, it played out. We got away from the areas where didn't really have any major levels there to play off of. So I was looking for us to come into the GWAP, see what kind of reaction we'd have. So I'm looking for the rise to get short for a move below the IB low. So this is at 11.11. So this is at 12.11. So down here, basically identified around here on this chart that everything looked good. All the other indications showed that we should be looking for looking for a short. And we had flow, we had put flow that was coming in. So then it's about just waiting for your spot, right? So I called out the trade. I'd gotten it. I need to see everything I need to see. So right here, I'm looking for a rise to get short for a move below the IB low, which at that time was, I believe, 18, if I'm not mistaken, and 45.11, which is the magnet settlement. We had another indicator that was there, so that was the obvious target for the day. If we can get a move above 24 to maybe 26 and trap longs, I'm looking for a short back to the lows. Then target the IB low and settlement magnet at 11. So that's what we were working on there. We'll see what happens if they hit the stops there. I'm just kind of calling this stuff as it plays out. This is 11:31, and this is really key right here. So these are the proprietary wise guy alerts that, we have these options alerts set up to look for, as Wall Street Jesus calls it, clean flow. So he's watching these come in. He'll alert them on the platform that, we have this stuff coming in. It'll show up on here. So we see, 1324, we have the 450 strike, executed a 450 calls. So we know they were selling those calls. So as we started coming up into this level, they were selling the 450 calls in the money. They were looking for a move down. So we'll see what happens if they hit the stops. Let me go back to my charts here and show y'all what we were looking for as this was setting up. So we're right in here. This is where, in here was where I started looking for this trade to set up. We had the GWAP line was running around here somewhere, and just saw a bunch of order flow right here. So I was thinking that there might be some stops here. Why that's important is the last thing I want to do is try to get in here and then have my stop run with everybody else, and who knows what this could be. Sometimes these kind of work like a roller coaster. Under critical levels, this is halfback. We have GWAP here as well. So when you have stops run up here, you could end up kind of get a cascading effect before you come back down. So I'm looking for that weakness. We can look at it on a footprint chart. So this is where we have this rise coming up. Somewhere in here is where we had the sweep come through, and I'm watching this delta. I'm wanting to see what the buyers and the sellers are doing. This is market orders, so watching the delta, and I'm watching these rotations. This is something else that we're fixing to do a video on tomorrow. And on each rotation, I'm judging, what are the buyers on this rotation? What are the sellers on this rotation? But this is a level right here that I'm watching. So we have basically this level. It's not a very good drawing of it, but I just put my mouse here. So we have the level at the top of these candles. I want to see what happens when we run these stops. And so we tick above. I didn't see anything, and so that's when I entered. So this is my entry at 25.50. So I entered short right here. It's about as good of an entry as you could hope for right there. So let's see what happens if they hit the stops. They went above. There wasn't really anything there. I went short as we came back down. This is something else. It's always best to get out of a mistake. Somebody accidentally entered in the trade, and they got right back out of it. And saying it's always good to do that. So I told them right there, I'm short 25.50. I'll cut it quick if it doesn't work. And again, that's because of where we're at. You know, we're right here at this critical level. So it's an order flow entry based on the delta. I'm a person, I don't like taking the heat. I don't want to sit in a trade while it goes against me 5 points just to have it work out. I'd rather, you know, get back out if it starts to go against me and then get back in on the way down. I have a much tighter risk. That leads to a much bigger reward. So that was one TP, one take profit. So I'm just letting them know. This was 1140 whenever I entered that trade. And then one take profit off. So I enter with 3 contracts or multiples of 3, and that's so I can use my risk management strategy, which is another thing we'll go over in a video. But one of the things I like to do is get risk off very quick. So I have a little bit of the risk off the trade. It actually, in this case, it's a short, so it actually raises my theoretical cost. And that gives me a little more room to let that trade work now. So I basically bought myself some time. I bought myself some room. And then doesn't take very long, about 5 minutes, 11:44. Second take profit at 2050. You know, I'm just letting them know my brackets go in, but that's where it was at. My second take profit at 2050. And then this is kind of important here because it'll make more sense later. But you know, these are pulling all of my comments from the room. I just took my comments out, so I don't have to go through all the other stuff. But I was just saying it's a tough day for me in the sense that I haven't had any trades to go the distance. So, you know, I was getting into good entries. You know, as I missed this up here. We never really got to that entry where I know I can get in and, you know, I have a lot of room in the trade. So I was basically just kind of scalping out, taking a little profit, stacking wins or small wins. So I was saying tough day for me in the sense that I haven't had any trades go the distance. But this one was a trade that I did enter in a good place. I got that entry that I was looking for. Just saying on here, on that move down, it ticked 2050, but I left my order. It left my order there, so it was one tick away. And I think there's a picture up here that'll show that. And just kind of explaining to people, the brackets made me a better trader. Somebody was talking about putting limits in, said they make me more profitable too. Again, we'll go over that in another video. I'm watching this rotation down. I see a buyer step in higher. I'll trim the second one sooner. So let's see if I can figure out what I was talking about there. I think it was this chop. So, you know, I got in this trade. We had a nice rotation down and rotation up. And then this is basically rotation down, rotation up. So I think it was at this point that I was saying, we can see what time was this trade or this candle. Started at 12:57 Eastern. I'm watching this rotation down. Was at 11:51, so 12:51. So that was here. So I'm watching this rotation down to basically judge the selling. So I was watching this. You know, we hadn't really made the progress I want to see. We're just kind of going sideways. And like I said, I was just stacking small wins, but I was trying to give this all the chance I could to work out. And this is a key part of this, the way that we trade, these tools that we use. I know it's likely that we take the put wall, which is why I'm willing to hold in this chop. This is the chop that I'm talking about here. It's just a question of if my stop will hold. So I'm confident at this point that this trade is going to work. We've seen it enough times. It just happens over and over again. So that's why it's so critical. And that's why whenever I get trades in our places where we have setups, then I stay in them, because one of these good trades can pay for 3, 4, 5 losers, depending on what your risk management strategy is. So I'm in this chop right now, and I'm talking about, I know it's likely we take the put wall, which is why I'm willing to hold in this chop. It's just a question if my stop will hold. And since my stop is up here, I'm not as concerned about it. I know we can come up, you know, run these stops and then go, but that's the trade, right? That's how it works. Not easy being green. You know, I was talking about at this point, you know, sometimes it's toughest being in a winning trade and staying in that winning trade, because that's where you really rack up your P&L. Is if you take everything off 1 point, 2 points, and you're taking 2 or 3 point losers, you're never going to get anywhere, right? Wrote the IB, that was kind of another conversation. TP2, so 11:58, that's 18 minutes later, I believe. I I got my second take profit. So let's see, 1158, that would be 1258 on that chart. So right here, I waited for it to get through. And it finally got my take profit. Again, that's waiting, being confident that the trade's going to work out and not taking it off a point sooner, a couple ticks sooner even. All that stuff adds up, right? So take profit 2, I said moving my runner to 16 for now. It's kind of where I chickened out a little bit. But we're trading the Gex here. We're trading our chart. And our level was at 45.15. So I said moving my runner to 16, not 15. Why? Because I put it just ahead of the put wall, and then I saw a big order at 15. So I wanted to be a little bit in front of that guy, a little bit in front of the wall, because we know these are areas where you're going to get reactions where they might bounce like this. Do I want to sit in a 10-point move and miss it for, it gets 1 or 2 ticks away from my target? No, I don't. Buyer stepping in here, see if we can break below and maybe run long stops. So I'm seeing buyers step in, but I'm still confident in this trade. I'm still confident it's going to work out. And I'm actually looking at being in my favor because I want to see them, when they do break below, we had started catching a bid there. I believe that was here. We started catching a bid. And so now I'm like, that's a great thing. I'm short. I want to see him catch a bid. I want to see him trap longs there. So that way, when we tick below, we can get a nice move down. The way I do my numbers is as long as it breaks by a tick, it's a break. That was another conversation talking about the IB. I'm giving sellers one more shot and then cutting it in to lock in profit. That was at 12 o'clock. So I've been in this trade for 20 minutes at this point. So that was actually here. We're ticking down. We're building pretty negative delta on these candles, but we're just barely moving here. And like I said, I'm trying to stack wins here. So this is where we come down 1 tick away from my take profit at 16. Do I cut it? No, leave it there. And so I was just making some jokes, pretty please, give me a kiss on the trade. Come on, give the wall a kiss. And another conversation here. And this is kind of explaining, so I'm saying I saw the size there. It's a freaking recipe. That's after taking full profit on the trade. It's a recipe. When the wall is there and there's size, just hang on, boys. Just stay in the trade. Just wait for it to happen. Because we see this over and over and over again. When these trades set up, you'll get this. You'll get all this chop in here. It doesn't matter. It's not, this chop isn't here because of these levels. The chop is there anyway. So while everybody else is looking for a double bottom, look, we already made a low, it's a higher low. Oh no, we trapped shorts. I'm still looking for our setup. I have the tools to show me we have flow coming in. This is flow that's selected from Wall Street Jesus and from the platform. I have the tools telling me here that I watch every day, does the same thing over and over. It's a recipe. Just got to hang on and wait for it. And so I was talking about it, the time of day. We're trading here in lunchtime, the end of lunch. If I had one more contract, then here comes 11. If you remember, I was talking about that before. That was my target. That was my ultimate target. And that was 9.5 points from GWAP to the put wall. The beautiful thing is knowing that if you get in a good spot, just let the put wall do its job and drag the price to it. It's what happens. We have size there. We know it's going to work out. So that's just going over and explaining. There's 11. I'm out of ideas for the day. So what was low a day? 1075. So I was wrong by a tick, but I'll take it. So that's it. That's pretty much the plan. We had these 2 trades set up. These happen over and over and over again. I'd rather just wait and take a solid setup. And, I can scalp around, just take other order flow setups, and, I can trade flow and other stuff in the room. but trade those accordingly. You know, if I get order flow setups, I'm not going to let it go against me. I'm not going to sit in the trade for 20 minutes. If I get wise guy alerts that are, you know, line up the way I want them to line up, then that's something to play off of. If we have squeeze meter at a certain level, our tactical sentiment, there's all these tools that we have that we can play accordingly. And this one in particular is this is a very perfect depiction of it here. We have other setups, like we have the failure, the wall failure, where we break below and the wall doesn't move. You see how the walls kind of move here. We play these, you know, we play them wall to wall, and this is a perfect example of that today. I don't like mean reversion much. I don't like fading stuff much because it takes a different risk management. But we look; these walls don't move down. We don't have another. It doesn't move and show us another target below. Then we look for them to move back to the wall, and we look for them to trade back up to the call wall. Generally, these walls will fail, not fail. They'll roll down. So I mean, this is what we'd be looking for, is a move where we come back into the zone, we trade up through GWAP, and we come back to the call wall. So that's another 15 points. Again, it's a recipe. It takes a lot of the pressure off whenever you know, once you're in a trade and you're sitting there worrying about, you know, is it going to go against me? Am I going to break even on these two contracts? No, just hang in there and wait. If it doesn't work this time, it'll work the next time. And like I said, when you get those big ones, it'll add up for you. So I hope that helps, and we'll do some more of these. If anybody has any questions on this, y'all know where to find me. You know, I'm generally in the futures room. You can tag me in the Steam room or DM me. I'm more than happy to talk about this tool. Well, look, I didn't really watch the other names much today. You know, these react a little bit differently at times, but you know, we've got recipes for these as well. You know, we look for, this is the same type of setup that I was just talking about. When the walls don't move, we look to take them back into the wall and trade the GWAP, and we see this was a strong level that lasted all day long. And then we've got good alerts to go off of too on these. So it works.